Survivor specialist Phil and Will are back, and so is Survivor. The offseason is over. Survivor season 33, Millennials versus Gen X.
The preseason is over.
That's what I said, isn't it?
You said the
I definitely
off-season.
said preseason.
No.
Preseason, offseason. Both are over. Whatever. The Millennials versus Gen X just started. Don't give me a hard time. I'm in a good mood. Leave me alone.
I'm in a good mood, too. I had a lot of fun. A lot of fun with this one.
And I want to say too, like if anybody's been watching our podcast since the beginning of the preseason,
there you go.
You knew everything about these characters before you even started because me and Will were just spot on with absolutely everyone. We were spot on with everyone.
I don't know about everyone. That's giving us, I think, a little too much credit. But
what do you think? 16 out of 20?
Things did play out as we people aligned with each other who we thought would align with each other. The Millennials won the first community challenge. I mean, we got some things right, but there's still a lot of surprises, lots to talk about. In our past premiere podcast, we usually just kind of go player by player, give everybody some love because that's what Survivor does in the premiere. Everyone gets at least a little bit of screen time and then forgets about half the cast an episode later, which we'll do that too. But for the premiere, let's give everyone kind of a moment.
I think we should start by giving a moment to somebody that Survivor didn't give a moment to. Lucy.
Is that Lucy? Yes.
Where was she?
This is the dog that didn't bark. I thought I was probably mistaken and just missed that Lucy did not get a confessional. But she got zero. Officially zero. And she was the only one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I guess that can happen when there are 20 castaways. We've had 18. And second chance, it was all returnees. I think everyone got one there. But I mean, she's not a big character. And I think that was one of our predictions that she was going to be gone early. And it certainly looks that way if she didn't get a single confessional in the premiere.
Yeah, it looks like Lucy's going to be a dud. But they're always on every season. This is the first time in a couple seasons, though, that somebody actually didn't get a confessional. It's the first time in a while. Because normally they have been spreading the wealth. I think it's been since about Caramoan. It was after Caramoan because of how bad that season was edited. Since then, starting with Blood versus Water, they've tried to give everybody a confessional in the premiere. And tonight was the first time, I think, since Blood versus Water. I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure since then that not every single person got a confessional in the premiere, which I was shocked by, especially since Gen X went to Tribal, and she still didn't talk. I have no clue if Lucy's even playing the game. I don't know what she's doing. She was there. That's about all I got from Lucy.
Yeah, I saw her a couple times. Then I was just like, I know who that is because we talked to this cast to death before the season started. But if you're a casual viewer, who is that? Like, who is this person just sitting on the camp? Is she a ghost? Is anyone talking to her? She got briefly mentioned that she was in that kind of majority on the Gen X tribe. Just kind of really shoehorned in at the end there. But that was it. So, yeah, that was, I guess, the first time since Blood vs. Water. And then we got a lot of first times in Survivor history. I think we could probably go back and forth. I'll start. The first time we've had a high school player.
Yeah, and Will was good. I think Will came out with a lot of energy. And I think what's going to end up happening to Will is he came out like, I'm the high school kid. I'm arrogant. I'm cocky. I'm this. Like, look at me. I'm the man. By, I think, day 9, Will's going to be exhausted. Will's going to be just so spent that, like, you're not going to see this energy from Will anymore. I feel like he's coming out so optimistic. He's not really realizing what he's in for. I think he's about to get hit hard.
I don't know. He is.
I think he is.
I could see that happening. But I think everyone gets hit hard at some point. You hit that, like, second phase of, man, this thing's really getting to me. But once you hit your stride and kind of adjust to the environment, I think he can fit in. It was awesome during the rainstorm when Will had his arms up like this with the girl on either side. I couldn't really tell who the two girls were, but it's like
didn't matter.
18 high-year-old kid. I think these chicks are like 28, maybe 30 years old, snuggling up to him. So that had to be a fun experience for Will.
Well, real quick, the only thing I wanted to say is I think Will, this episode, he played it like he was playing on TV, like he was a TV character. I think you're going to start to see more of a normal Will come out. I think he's going to start to tone down a little bit. But on to that, I thought they were going skinny dipping at one point. And my God, if they went skinny dipping, what would have happened to poor Will Wall? What would have happened to poor Will Wall if they all went skinny dipping?
Wait, why? Why are you singling him out?
Because he's a high school student and he's just going to be surrounded by naked 20-year-old women.
I mean,
I'm not saying I'm saying I know most people in high school have seen naked people of the opposite sex by that point. But my point is, like, Will's just it's gonna be overkill. It's gonna be like Eric Reichenbach when the girl had no shirt on.
I don't know if it's skinny dipping you. He just hops in the water. But we are getting a little off topic. I think they do eventually go skinny dipping. I don't know. I think that was in a preview or something. It's such a millennial thing to do, right?
Yeah, I know. Well, they forgot to build their shelter because they were swimming, which worked out for them because Gen X built their shelter, and a tree got knocked down on top of it. So hey, millennials win.
Yeah, they were bowling too. I guess since we're on the millennials tribe, starting with Will. I mean, are you ready to go player to player? Just kind of briefly get everyone some love, and then we'll talk about the vote, talk about what we liked and we didn't like, the first times.
I'll start with Jay and Taylor. They're going to be so much fun. One of them isn't going to last very long, which I think is going to be Taylor. I think we might have been right about that. I think Jay's going to get the edge here. But they're going to be so much fun while they're out there because they just don't care. Like, they're just out there to have a good time. How many times did Taylor say that Figgy and Michelle were hot? How many times did they say Figgy and Michelle were hot? I mean, that's what they're out there to do. And you know what? It's a short-lived game. One of them isn't making it. The other one could Eddie Fox it and get 5th place. Neither one of them is going to win, but man, are they going to be so much fun while they're out there.
It's really crazy how this, like, cool kids versus nerd dynamic happens in almost every season. Like, you have the cool kids, and the cool kids always are down in numbers. Like, they never have the numbers. It reminded me so much of Caramoan with, like, Eddie Reynolds and then Hope and I forget the other one. Allie? Laura? Yeah. No, Laura was not one of the cool kids. I forget. It doesn't matter. It was like there was these 4, like, we have the power, we're dominating this game. It's like, you're on a tribe of 10. 4 people is not going to do you any good. I don't understand these people can't realize it. I mean, it's cool if you, like, want to have friends and have, like, a clique, but in Survivor, just make sure you get maybe some extra numbers around you first. Don't isolate yourself. A lot of that going on. I'm very proud of Adam that he kind of didn't get lumped in, because even if you're not the broiest bro, you probably, like, you and I, we're not like super bro people. I guess that's the best way to say it. But I would probably get along with someone like Taylor, someone like Jay, and it was good for Adam to, he was making bonds with Mari, with Hannah, and kind of, I mean, we didn't get a ton from Adam, but what we saw was great. So I don't know. Let's talk about Adam next. We'll do, I guess, males on the millennial tribe. We'll talk about
Adam, you were solid. We're proud of this. Like, I'm happy that you're the one who watched us from the beginning, because you were solid. I couldn't have really asked for anything more. You didn't do much strategizing, but what ended up happening is they've set us up so much for the fall of either Taylor, Jay, Figgy, or Michelle that I knew that we were about to get the spin of, hey, the 6 of us are going to take over the game. It wasn't Adam who put it into motion. It was Mari. But Adam was smart enough to be on the outside of that. He had some cool things. I like that he just called out the Gen Xers right off the bat. I like that he just, like, did, like, the Probst thing back to him and, like, kind of rubbed the Gen Xers around. I loved it. Like, I thought he was great. He couldn't have scripted it any better. I thought he had a great
hashtag too.
He got the hashtag, which, by the way, we had somebody tweet at us. Let me actually get this. Brad Harmon. I really hope that Phil and Will get a shout out by Adam. That would be hashtag unprecedented, hashtag Survivor.
That wouldn't be unprecedented. We've already gotten shout outs from Adam.
But not on the show. I think he means on the show.
Oh, that would be unprecedented. Maybe.
Yeah, I think he means on the show.
A couple seasons. I don't even think Rob as a podcast is going to shout out. Even when Steven was on Second Chance. So that will be very difficult. But hey, unprecedented things do happen. Who is the next? So Zeke. Well, that's
Zeke. Love Zeke. Love Zeke.
Awesome.
MVP.
And, I think that there's a good case for Zeke there. I'll have to look at my fantasy tribe once we get into MVP. A lot of times when we talk about being proud of yourself and changing and, all this kind of sappy stuff, I really it's not very authentic. And It's kind of BS and it's built up for the cameras. This was not at all. Like, I really thought Zeke was being 100% himself and authentic. And it went on for a while. It went on for a good minute about, like, how he's already been changed by this game. And I loved every moment of it. I'm usually not a sucker for that kind of thing, but I was cheesing the whole time. He was a joy to watch. It's
because he's so likable. Like, he's so likable right off the bat that it doesn't matter what he says. Like, you're into it. You're buying it. And like, I was a big fan. I'm glad he started the fire. I'm glad that he was, he stayed on the outskirts. And you know what? He's going to be the leader of that misfit tribe. He really is. And I think that he did have the most confessionals, I'm pretty sure. Him and David tied, I believe. The numbers could change, but I'm pretty sure they tied from the first viewing. So if you had that, you win. But there's just something about Zeke that's so, like, authentic even when it shouldn't be authentic, because it just seems like Zeke's not going to tell you something to sugarcoat it. He's going to tell you exactly what he feels and what he wants. I thought Zeke was great tonight. I think Zeke's going really, really far in this game. Zeke's going really, really far.
Yeah, the only worry is if people start catching on that he is so likable and that he is very talented. I mean, I think physically he's okay. He obviously has a brain. He doesn't know how to build a shelter, but he did the shelter seconds. I mean, at least this is how they aired it. He built a shelter, then built a fire. So, he might stand out a little bit, which is not good, but I'm rooting for Zeke.
Another thing I loved about Zeke, just to jump to the challenge real quick, I love that he said, we're definitely doing the balance beam one. We're not even thinking about it. I love that he did that because he knows he's the big guy who's going to fall off the balance beam and lose. And he says, no. We're just getting the balance beam out of the way, and we're running across it. And it worked. It worked. It also helped that you had two not very good people on the puzzle side for the Gen Xers, but his plan worked. Don't even think about it. Don't give somebody the chance to fall off. Just go.
Yeah, and even if he wasn't the big guy that's prone to falling off, like he maybe is incredibly well at balancing, maybe not. It is, I think, just an overall, it's a good strategy. Like balance beams cripple people in Survivor. Like people cannot handle balance beams for some reason. You look at Chris Vanuatu. Yeah, that's being the exemplary case of that. But all good from Zeke. That covers the millennial males.
Does it? Wait. Oh, yeah, we did do Will. Okay, I forgot we did Will. Sorry, go.
And Jay and Taylor are like, I mean,
they're peas in a pod.
I think Jay is the one that has the bigger brain in between his shoulders.
We saw that a little bit on the preview for next week. It seems
like
he's thinking game terms, and Taylor's really just out there to have a good time, which there's no problem with that as long as you're going to entertain me and play a little bit. Taylor hit that beach really hard and said, here's my alliance. It wasn't a smart move, but at least he played. Right.
They are trying, I do believe. Before we get to the millennial females, just get your comments in. I don't know if we're going to be able to read all of them because I'm sure we have quite a few just because the premiere ended a while ago on the East Coast. It is a 90-minute premiere. But yeah, get your tweets and comments in. We'll do our best to read them. And of course, we're going to read all the comments anyway when we do our power rankings and predictions for Sunday's podcast. So if we don't get to all of them, we'll do it then. Just wanted to get that in there so we do have some comments to read. We'll hopefully have our MVP voting up also. Okay.
We're going to have that.
Females on the Gen X tribe. I guess we'll start with Figgy Michelle just because it's an easy kind of pairing. Figgy, I want to like her, but it's the same thing with Taylor. How blind can you be to the tribe around you? Like if you're hanging out with just two people the whole entire time, like that's not good. It's just that has to register that something's wrong. I need to change. I need to do something different than I'm currently doing. But it seemed like it was 3 days of her just being buddy with Taylor and Jay.
I'm going to be honest, though. Figgy's best – well, it wasn't Figgy, but Figgy, I feel like it's a dumb move for her to go with Taylor and Jay. For some reason, I feel like Taylor or Jay is going to go before her, is going to be targeted before her, not so much because of strength, but because they're worried that Taylor and Jay could be together, and then Taylor and Figgy could be a pair, and Jay and Figgy could be a pair. But they also were scared, I think, that Jay – and Taylor could be a pair. And that's a strong duo that I think they're going to try to break up early because they're going to be too bro-y. And I actually think Figgy, as dumb as her gameplay was tonight, I still like Figgy. I still think Figgy's all right because I think that it also helps her. Michelle is in there, and I think Michelle's going to come across as the weaker link than Figgy when it comes down to it. I'm still on the Michelle going home early train.
Yeah, I mean, Figgy did do very well at that puzzle. Seems like she was – who'd she do that with again?
Oh, my God.
Was that Michelle that she was doing it with?
Was it Michelle? I can't remember.
I remember it was definitely Figgy, and it seemed like she was the one leading the way. Maybe was it? No, it wasn't Hannah. Yeah, but
I was thinking Hannah.
At least
but it wasn't.
Held her own in the challenge, and it's not like she dropped the ball there. That could have been really bad. She could have been the first one going home. Michelle, there's something off-putting on Michelle. I'm trying to put my finger on it. But it was kind of weird. It seemed like she was using her Bible stuff. Like people want to come up to me and trust me because I'm religious. I don't know. It felt a little off. And again, I'm not being very specific here. It was more of a vibe that I was
snaky. It seems like she's a little snaky. She's I feel like the real Michelle is going to come out here. And I said this in the cast assessment. I felt like Michelle was conflicted and didn't know who she really wanted to be. Does she want to be this flirty girl? Does she want to be this religious girl? And I don't think she even knows at her age. I really don't think she knows. And I think the real her is going to start to actually come out on Survivor. And I think right now she's trying to play up the Bible thing. But I think there's a snaky version of Michelle that could be very interesting as the season goes on. And I do, if she can last long enough, Michelle is going to be interesting. I take back everything else I said. She's going to be interesting if she can last long enough.
Yeah, she certainly wasn't boring, as
No.
Phil liked to put it, for about 3 podcasts straight
Mhm.
during the preseason.
Mhm.
I will say, though, out of the 4 people, she's not in that like tight, what is it, the Triforce they call themselves? She's not a part of the Triforce. She was making a connection with Hannah. I
Mhm.
think she's more integrated with the rest of the tribe. So, I mean, strategically, she's in the best position out of those 4 people. She can kind of decide which way she wants to go depending on, whether people swing back and forth. She's kind of in the middle. So you got to respect her. I don't know if she did it on purpose, but give her credit for that.
And I also think now we can just jump right to Hannah. Great move by Hannah, seeing that alliance was happening. And just in case they can ever pull it off, way to weasel your way in there and start talking to Michelle. Very good move, because everybody knows that it's just being friendly and all of that. But if somehow those 4 did get the numbers, Michelle's going to remember that and be like, oh, me and Hannah. Hannah can make people laugh. And you saw tonight, David survived because he could make people laugh. Rachel couldn't make people laugh. And that could really go a long way for Hannah in this game. She was able to weasel her way in where she could be the 5th if that 4 ever splits off and somehow gets the power. And I think that was smart of her, and good on Michelle for being open to it. And like, really, it seems like Michelle does have a better head on her shoulders, but it also seems like Hannah came to play, and I underestimated her too, although she's in my fantasy team. So
yeah, I was really, really impressed with Hannah. I was worried that she was going to try to come out too much and overcompensate, because there are people that maybe right away people don't gravitate towards them. Hannah might be one of those people. I don't know. From what we saw, she kind of felt left out by Figgy, Michelle, Taylor, because they bonded instantly. Those people bonded so quickly. And when you're out there and you don't know anybody and you see other people bonding, that can really get to you. And when that happens, you might try to overcompensate by trying to be too funny, trying to get too much attention, trying to put your foot down. She did it very subtly in her like little Bible jokes, just little conversations. I mean, all we really saw was that conversation with Michelle, but it was very well done, at least from what I saw. And you made a really good point. Like, if that alliance does get the number somehow, like, she would be the next one, at least from the edit. That's what it's showing us. And then her conversation with Mari as well, I think that was really, they have a good bond. So I really was impressed with Hannah, with her jokes and with her gameplay.
yes, and Mari's another one. I liked Mari a lot. I liked Mari coming into the season. After this premiere, I really like Mari. I think she's got her finger on everything. She was like the narrator of that try. I know Zeke got a lot, but Mari really like knew everything. Zeke had a lot about himself. Mari's the one who seemed to put that 6-person alliance in the shape, and it seems like she's really the one who's got her finger on it at that
Yep,
try.
she's the oldest one too, but she doesn't come across as like the vocal leader. Zeke is kind of the vocal leader. I think you're exactly right that she's pulling the strings with that kind of 6-person group of misfits, I guess, is what they're calling themselves. But yeah, Mari, she also had that quote, "I'm going to win this game." Is that a potential winner quote? There were a few tonight that were, I think there were 3 that I heard. I don't remember them all right now, but 3 quotes. I'm like, I think those are really going to be the quotes that we played. Mari's wasn't that interesting of a quote. It wasn't like a Brian Heidick or Richard Hatch or anything, but it was like, I'm going to win. It was pretty much, that was it.
I think it was her, it was Chris, and who was the other one?
I think Figgy had
I think it was
one
Figgy.
too. Yeah, I think it was
she
said something about $1 million check or something.
Chris's was great though. Chris like had, I forget what his line was. We'll get to Chris eventually, but I forget what his line was. But I remember he was on the boat coming in, and I'm like, that kind of sounds like a winner quote. That could definitely be a winner. You know?
They always toss in a few to mess with you. But again, with Mari, as I said all preseason, it's gonna be, she's got to stay under the radar. Don't let people know you're in control. She seems like she is skilled at this game. She's a game player. It's what she does. So if people do get wary of that, especially early, she gets pinned early, it'll be really hard to last, 30 days with the target on your back. Has been done before, but would make that difficult. Who else do we have?
The only other one is Michaela. And I think
Michaela,
I feel like she was hidden purposely. I don't feel like Michaela's boring. I feel like we almost like she was just on the side, like kind of seeing things. I think we're going to get a lot of Michaela's too. I really do.
I think they're setting her up to like just bond with the Gen Xers when there's a tribe swap. I think that's what it was. They showed her doing a lot of things on her own. They showed her doing a lot of eye rolls. Whenever there was anything about, oh, we don't like hard work, or this is what a millennial typically does, they would, pan to Michaela, roll in her eyes. I think she's going to find a really solid alliance with the Gen Xers down the line in the season. I think that's what they're setting up for.
I do too, and I feel like that's why her story's not going to take off early. But I think Michaela, there's just something about the way it went tonight and the way she's been portrayed that it seems like she's not going anywhere soon, and her game's only going to pick up as it goes on. Her screen time's only going to pick up as it goes on.
I agree. Well, she didn't get much tonight, so
I think she only got one.
Yeah, maybe two. Yeah, one or two. I don't know. Okay, that covers the Millennial tribe. Fun tribe. I like them. I wouldn't say this was like the greatest premiere. It wasn't the most dramatic. I mean, the Cyclone thing was cool, but where'd they go? They just cut off. We don't really know what happened.
I wonder if we'll get an answer to that because I'm really curious where they actually took them.
Once we have Adam on the show after the season, so he'll tell us everything. I'm relying on Adam just
break all his contracts and let us know everything. You know what's
exactly?
It's a couple $1 million. It's not going to kill you,
right? But overall, I mean, it was just a premiere is, introducing you to the cast. I think it did a good job of that. Got a lot from everybody except Lucy, and we got, I think we have really a great cast on our hands here.
And I want to say too, the way Jay and Taylor reacted when they found out they were getting pulled was hilarious. And I don't know who said, "Is that bad?" And Jay goes, "I mean, if they're pulling us, it's pretty bad." Or like whatever he said, or like it's a cyclone, that's bad. Whatever the line, it was so funny. It might have been even Taylor who said it. I'm just going to confuse the two of them the whole time. But that was so funny. I was like, yeah, this is going to be fun. Like they're going to be fun as long as they're in this game.
Yeah, I was surprised when they told they were getting pulled. They didn't jump up and down for joy. If I was out there in the rain all night and Jeff says we're evacuating me, I'd be like, thank God, get me out of here. Like I knew. Like, I'm sure when you go on Survivor, you're telling yourself, this is going to be miserable, suffer through it. And then when it's that bad, you got to go, wait a second. Like, this is insane right now. Like, there are trees falling over that have roots in the ground. Like, this should not be happening.
What do you think Jeff's reaction was when he walked up and saw their mud pit with sticks?
We saw his reaction. He was
what do you think is going through his head though? Like, what do you think Jeff is saying to himself? Like, do you think he's just like, this is gold. This is going to be fantastic. I'm so excited to put this on TV. Like, what do you think is going through his head? It looked like after Isengard fell in Return of the King. Like, that's what that looked like to me. Like, it was just so ridiculous. Like, they're just sitting there smiling, chewing on a piece of grass. And it's like, you're in a mud pit. You have nothing.
Jeff is thinking the same thing he's always thinking. He's thinking, man, is there anything here where I can say first time in Survivor history? It's always at the back of his head. We had so many of those. They gave them tarps. That's something. He wrote them a letter, like signed Jeff. Another one of Hannah's funny jokes that wasn't overdoing it. XOXO Jeff. Mm-hmm. Very subtle but nice. Good job, Hannah. But yeah, that's what Jeff's always thinking about. Yeah. Let's move on to the Gen X tribe, unless you have anything else you want to talk about. Okay, we'll talk about the Gen X tribe person to person, then we'll talk about the vote. Let's who do you want to start? Let's start with Chris, because I think Chris is my favorite person, not only on the Gen X tribe, but the whole season so far. He was awesome.
He is so even keeled, it's ridiculous. His voice, he's just so like monotone, but he's got it all going on. Like he's got everything going on up here. He's able, like when he said at the tribal, like for a second, I thought it was going to be me who was getting voted off. And I said, you know what? You just work hard and you let them see it. And everybody was just like, yeah, Chris, you're fine. Like nobody was even saying like, Chris, you should still be. It was just like, Chris is going to be the leader of that. I hope he doesn't get.
He gets it.
He does.
He gets it.
And I hope he doesn't get like the Tyrone shit from what was it, Nicaragua, where like he goes to another tribe and he gets booted because he just loses. Like I hope that we get to see Chris not get his game screwed over because of a swap or something stupid. So I like Chris though. I thought he was great tonight.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous he's your winner pick. My winner pick, Jay, I don't think did not have as good of an episode as Chris. I really enjoyed Chris in the challenge when he was just sitting there. They had already gotten all their clubs, but they were just, he wasn't even getting a club. He was just sitting there preventing
blocking Jay and Taylor from getting that. That's a great point. I love that.
Very well done. It was awesome for Chris.
And another thing I want to point out too, Rachel says, I want to use the war club. I want to use it. It takes like 15 whacks to hit the thing. And then Chris goes up, one swing, bam, there goes the thing. And I was just like this guy's awesome. Like it was just funny. It was just almost like he never made a comment about it. He just went up and did it. And I think that's what's going to help him. He's just going to do it and he's not going to be too loud about it.
Yeah, they had a quote about that with the shelter. There's a lot of talking, not a lot of doing. Mm-hmm. They want to do things.
Yeah.
Gen X mentality really coming to light here in episode 1.
Yeah.
Let's go to Brett because it seems like they are the buds on that try. We predicted that. I'm sure everyone else did as well. Not surprising. I really like Brett. His accent sounds a lot like Boston Rob's. I don't know if you noticed that, Tribal Council. I mean, I know it's a Boston. It's a Boston accent, but it didn't sound like Jeremy. We've had other Boston. It didn't sound like, Rodney. It sounded like Boston Rob. So I thought that was funny. He seems, I don't know. I don't see him ever really getting rid of Chris or breaking that bond with Chris. And I think Chris is the superior player. So that's my only problem with Brett. I don't know how he really wins.
To just, keep comparing to Vanuatu and using the name Chris, Brett is to Chris what Bubba was to Chris, if that makes sense. Like, Bubba was never going to win the game, but he loved Chris. Even like somebody like Sarge, he was like never going to win the game, but they all loved Chris. Like, that's how I feel right now. Like, Brett's not going to win the game, but Brett is always going to be Chris's sidekick until they go down. You know what I mean? Like, he's always just going to be like Chris's little buddy. Yeah,
I mean, I think Brett isn't like a bad player or not. He's not a non-factor. I think he
could win.
He's gonna be in the game, and he certainly can win. It's only episode 1, but it does seem like Chris is kind of the alpha of that group. It's crazy. Maybe this is a Vanuatu rebirth. It's just we have balance beams, we have Chris's, we have maybe annoying people like Eliza. They'll probably show up soon. So
one of them went home tonight.
That's right. Let's go to David, just because he really did dominate this episode. I think this episode was David's story kind of showcased. Did you think he was going home? Headed into Tribal?
No, I didn't.
I didn't either.
I didn't, not even a little bit. They all liked David. And David made it very clear to them that he was desperate and that he would vote with them no matter what. And this early in the game, you take whatever vote you can get. They knew Rachel was never going to vote with them. David made it very clear, I will vote with you no matter what, because he was paranoid. Take that guy. Kind of what happened with Cochran. This was Cochran 2.0, like 100%. This was Cochran 2.0. The only difference is hopefully the Gen Xers are either smart enough to get rid of him before he can turn on them, or he doesn't turn on them like Cochran did in South Pacific.
And they're both TV writers.
Well, one of them earned it. The other one got it.
Right.
14 years as an assistant, man. That made me a little depressed. I'm only on year 1. Like, Jesus.
Right. David, I just didn't think he was going to go home because they built him up so much. I mean, I think it was relatable to a lot of people who watch the show. It's like, wow, you want to root for David. Even though his strategy was miserable, he was looking for the idol way too early. He was calling out other people for looking for the idol, just all over the place, playing a terrible game. But that's the person you're like, man, I really want to see that guy succeed. They wouldn't build him up and just say, oh, well, I'm going to crush his dreams in front of everybody, in front of America. That would not be good at all. Rachel was negative at it the entire time. Really nothing positive from her, just bickering, ordering, being bad at puzzles and challenges and swinging clubs. So it was kind of, to me, it was pretty obvious that Rachel was heading home.
You know what's positive about Rachel? She went straight to Jeff Probst without a word.
Ooh.
And you know who had that?
You did.
This guy right here. I was so I rewatched it. I was like, yes. Like, after
I forgot about all of our prop bets.
Jeff snuffs her torch, and he says, like, goodbye, Rachel, and she, like, goes, and, like, no words come out, and she just walks off. I'm like, yes. Like, I did it. She walked right up to him, got her torch snuffed, and then walked out of it. I was so pumped. She, like, went to make a word. There was no word. It was a noise. It was a grunt. She wins. 1 point for Phil.
Just 1 point.
Yeah, that's all.
I forgot who I put for that. I don't know.
It wasn't her.
I'll have my chance coming up. Unless the person gets medevac.
You put Chris, so you might never get your chance.
That's true. I could see him not saying a word, though, if he does get voted out.
Yeah.
Let's move to Joe, who might not get voted out. Or no, Paul, surfing Santa. I liked Paul way more than I thought I would. It just from the preview, I gotta believe that's him.
Who else would it be?
Where he has medical stuff going on.
I mean, who else would it be? It's not. I don't feel like it's gonna be Chris or Brett. I feel like they're both healthier guys. I mean, Brett's a police sergeant. You know what I mean? And then Chris. I mean, yeah, it could be Chris, but I feel like
no, it can't be Chris. It's not Chris.
It can't be Chris, exactly, and it's definitely not David, and it's definitely not Ken. And they said it was a guy, so like, really, everything's pointing at Paul, like just like screaming at him.
Yeah, and if you have a heart attack, that's like you cannot stay out on that.
No, you're getting
like,
pulled.
You gotta get pulled. I hope he doesn't get pulled because I was impressed with him. He did open a little bit rough when he said to the tribe, he started talking about the millennials, kind of going on a little bit of a rant, kind of trying to take a leadership role. And then you have Ken just interrupting him, like, don't underestimate them. Like, don't underestimate your enemy. They kind of clashed a little bit. But besides that, I like Paul. I was worried when it started out that way.
Yeah, him and Rachel fought. He won that battle because everybody could see that Rachel was just doing it to be obnoxious. And like Paul was actually, I was very impressed that Paul wasn't louder about it. He wasn't Jimmy T. He was very calm about it. And I was very shocked because I was expecting Jimmy T from Paul. I really was.
Me too. So good for Paul. I hope he doesn't go, but it does not look good for him. To Ken,
he's fine.
He's fine. Again, it's like, do you want to tell everyone that you're the outdoors guy and that you can handle everything, and then a tree falls over on your shelter? It just, I don't know. Even if I was an expert, I don't want to tell everyone that I'm an expert about anything. I want to pretend I'm learning on the job and then be really good at it and impress people that way, instead of saying, hey, look at me, listen to me, give orders, stuff like that. I mean, I think he's probably a recruit. Anyone who's watched Survivor or has been a fan, like, you don't put yourself in that position. And it's not like it backfired on him or anything, but it's just clear sign that he doesn't know the game that well.
Yeah, but I think he is smart. And I think one of the smarter moments for him was when he did say to Paul, don't underestimate them. And I think that's going to be his game the whole time, is he's never going to be like, oh, that person's a non-factor. That seems like the way he's going to play the game, where everybody always has a chance and everybody's always a threat. And that could work out for him, because a lot of times, when do people get voted out? When they least expect it. Somebody like Tyson gets booted because he thinks that Sierra is a non-factor. You're gone. You know what I mean? So I think that Ken kind of does understand the game. I just don't think that he's ever watched it, and he doesn't get the social part of it as much as he gets the strategic part of it, if that makes sense, even though we didn't see much strategically.
It does. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but he will be someone who needs to learn as they go. He's not coming in, I don't think, with hours and hours of Survivor watched, like some of the other people. So
we've already talked about Lucy. I mean, we already hit her. We hit her. I mean, it seems like Survivor hit her this episode. She did not say a word. They did show her face a lot. She has the facial expressions, but like, she didn't say anything. One that I really want to point out that I'm a little disappointed in, and not because of their personality, just because of where they stand. Cece, what the hell? She couldn't get in with anybody. She has such a big personality. Go talk to them.
I thought she was great, like in her when she was talking to Jeff in the beginning, or a confessional here and there. I mean, she just latched on to the wrong person. It's kind of like Liz last season latched on to Peter. And they're like, all right, well, got to get rid of one of you. And Cece almost went home. I mean, I know they split the vote. That was the idea. We'll talk about that vote split.
Oh my God!
Don't you worry. that could have gone very, very badly. But I agree. I was very disappointed that Cece couldn't tell that Rachel was kind of isolating herself from the tribe, that she wasn't fitting in, that she did screw up the challenge, all of these things. And even if you get along with her really well and she's your friend, you got to look out for yourself, especially. It's like, well, this person's going to be gone in a few hours. You got to really start bonding with other people. I hope that CC can recover from that, but not a good spot for her. Not
a good start. I think I don't really have anything else to say about CC. I think next you jump to Sunday, because not a huge factor in the episode. Seems like she's in the majority alliance. Seems like she could be okay. She's not bringing anything different to the table than we expected. You know, there's nothing really crazy going on with Sunday. At least I didn't get anything.
Well, I think with someone like Sunday, it's very often these people fall to the minority. And then they need to get saved somehow, or they bond with one person, or they win immunity. But these people usually don't immediately just go to the majority. So I do give Sunday a lot of credit. They do have a majority there. Not much else, though. You're right. I didn't get a lot from her. Let's see. Jessica Lewis, who she favored some of our tweets, right? I think
she quote tweeted us once, which is cool because she got a legacy advantage, and I was really pumped that she got the legacy advantage because she's quote tweeted us before, and that's cool. Like, it's cool that like somebody who paid attention to us at one point just got this legacy advantage, and we can talk about the legacy advantage. But first, let's talk about Jessica Lewis. She's in the majority. She found that advantage. She's got that advantage. It doesn't really help her yet, but she could definitely use it as a tool going forward when her name comes up on the chopping block.
Yeah, that's the coolest part about it. I think day 36 is a bit late. for there to be like an advantage coming into the game. I wish it would have said like day 32 or something, because day 36, I mean, you're 3 days away from final tribal council.
Well, you know what it is. It's the final immunity challenge. You get an advantage. That's what it is.
Right, which is I think it's too big, and the fact that it has to stay in the game.
But
man, someone's going to have an advantage at the immunity challenge.
I do like, though, that somebody's going to earn this as opposed to just winning a random reward challenge and getting it. Like, you're going to earn this thing because if Jessica Lewis doesn't make it.
Unless Jessica Lewis keeps it.
Well, if she makes it to day 36, then good for her for finding it. I mean, that's even more impressive that you have the thing. Good. You know what? You did earn that. But if Jessica Lewis doesn't make it there, which in all likelihood she won't because there are 19 other people, then you have to buddy up to Jessica. And then you have to buddy up to somebody that buddied up with Jessica. And, like, you really have to, like, make an alliance with the right person. And you're going to earn that advantage. Because somebody getting voted off, normally they're in an alliance with 2 or 3 other people. They're not really on their own.
Yeah, but this is what I'm worried about. Like, Jessica, if I'm Jessica and I get voted out and I'm forced to give this to someone, I don't know exactly how it's going to work. I imagine it's, here, you got to give your advantage away, Jessica. You're getting voted off, and you have to do it in front of the tribe.
I don't think so.
I'm handing this to someone that I don't like. I'm handing it to someone that I want to put a target on their back. Wow, we got to watch out for this person. Now they have this secret advantage we know nothing about. That's what I would do.
I bet what they're going to do is, because I think production thought about that, I bet what they're going to do is if the person gets voted out, production will then take it and give it to somebody without everybody knowing. Like, it might be like a special, it might be in their bag, it might be somewhere hidden. It might be like when Jeremy went to find that idol and it was down like that trail. Like, I feel like it's going to be so that it's not as apparent, because otherwise whoever gets that advantage is just going to get voted every week.
But Survivor loves the drama of handing things to people. You have the whole immunity idol clue at Redemption Island and Blood vs. Water, and then eventually that turned into people just burning it because they didn't want the target. I mean, Survivor in the past has loved interaction between people who are like still in the game, not still in the game. Giving away idols became a thing, playing idol for somebody else. I don't know, kidnapping, watching other people's tribals. Like, they love these moments. So I kind of fear that they're going to play it up like, who's she going to give it to? Everyone's watching. It seems like that'd be good TV to get rid of. From the game perspective, I agree with you. They should totally give it to someone in secret.
Yeah, they should. And, I mean, we'll see how it plays out. I'm curious to see how it plays out. We haven't seen anything like it. I mean, it's going to be a Survivor first when something happens, when Jessica Lewis gets booted. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see how it plays out. I think that it could be an interesting thing.
Another thing about Jessica.
Go ahead.
Her eyes, I did not know what was going on with her eyes. I was going to say, what was going on? And she mentioned it finally at Tribal. It gets brought up, and her eyes looked miserable.
She looked like she was in a horror movie.
And that was, I mean, for her to be that tough and not complaining, she seemed like she was really tight with Chris and Brett, good with Sun. She seems like she's in a really good spot here. I like that she wasn't complaining about her eyes the whole time. That's probably what I would have been doing. That's what Shamar would have been doing. Shamar got medevac for, sounds like something similar. So good for Jessica hanging in tough.
Yeah, and she doesn't want to go home. I mean, she likes the game. I think she was a huge fan before it even happened, before she even got cast. So there's no way she's getting booted because she got a bacterial infection in her eyes. Give her antibiotics. She'll be fine. I guess that really only leaves us with one person that we've already kind of talked about, and that is Rachel, our first boot of Survivor Millennial versus Gen X, the title nobody wants, and she did this completely to herself.
Yeah, I mean, she has just no social awareness, none whatsoever. And I mean, I guess she started realizing it. Oh, I don't know why people aren't talking to me. And then at Tribal Council, she says, sorry if I offended anyone with my words. It's like, no, lady, you didn't offend anyone. You sucked at the challenge in multiple facets. You said you could do puzzles. You couldn't. It took you 10 times to break down the tiki thing. That's why you went home. And the fact that she couldn't even realize that it was her challenge performance and nothing to do with her. I mean, I'm sure it did have to do with camp life, but I imagine if Rachel doesn't call out for the puzzle, doesn't call out for the tiki thing, and just kind of sticks in the middle of the pack, I think David probably goes home.
Look, and I'm all for, like, you know, a woman comes out there, knocks the thing out of the park, like, whatever. I'm all for that. Somebody like Sydney probably would have wrecked that challenge. She probably would have destroyed that damn thing. My problem is the I'm trying to think of the word. It's an insulting word that I'm trying to think of, but I can't even think of it. Whatever Rachel had going in her mind, like the self-esteem, the self-confidence, like just the ego. That's it. Her ego is so inflated that she thinks she's going to knock that thing out. Instead, just hand the thing to Chris. Let Chris go beat the crap out of it and walk to the next thing. Like, there's certain aspects that are meant for somebody like Chris, and let them do it. There's no reason to come up and try to be the hero because I don't think she realized that she was in danger going into that challenge. So just let them do it. Like, why do you have to go up there and do it? Like, what are you trying to prove? Because all you're going to do, it's not going to work out good for you. Because when Chris goes up the next time, he's going to show everybody how easy it would have been and how they would have lost 0 time on it.
Right.
The puzzle I have no problem with, but that I do.
Well, we see people call out they're good at puzzles a lot, and they get out there and you haven't slept, haven't eaten, and your mind's boggled. But I understand the puzzle thing. Though I would never volunteer for the puzzle unless – I love puzzles. I still probably wouldn't volunteer for the puzzle in the very first challenge. I just wouldn't do it, even though I'm obsessed with puzzles.
Well, because what ends up happening is Sunday comes in, and who was it? It was Sunday and I forget who the other one was. Whoever came in.
Jessica.
I think
Jessica.
Yeah, when they come in, if they win the challenge, they're the heroes. If they lose, there's no pressure on them. So you know what? Be the first guy off the bench for the puzzle. In the first
come
challenge.
save
You
it.
don't need to be the guy.
And if they're not bringing you off the bench, that means there's nothing to save anyway, and you're gonna win it. You're gonna win the challenge and not have to go to tribal. Exactly. Look, we should be on the show, so Phil. But what I was going back to is what I was saying about Hannah and how she could have had this response to overcompensate, and I think that's what Rachel was doing. She felt maybe that, I really need to perform well in this challenge. Let me step up. And she tried to step up too much. She tried to get too much attention. She, like you said, her ego was too big. She wanted to be the star. And when you shoot for the stars, sometimes you burn.
Yeah, man. You don't always land on a cloud. Yeah. Kanye was wrong.
That's right. Let's talk about this vote split. Unless there's anything you want to get to before the vote.
We need to talk about the vote split because I texted you immediately and I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in the world ever. Like, it was so bad. I was about to start screaming.
They said it was such confidence. Like, we have 6, so that's enough to split the vote. It's like, no, that's 3-3-4. Like,
you lose.
If anyone puts this together at 6 against 4, the 4 are all going to throw their votes at somebody.
Which they just weren't smart enough to do. They should have done it. They just weren't smart enough to do it.
Yeah, what were the votes? It was 3 for Cece. 4 for Rachel. So maybe it was 7.
5 for Rachel. It was 5 for Rachel.
It was 5 for Rachel.
And then 1 for Sunday and 1 for David.
Right.
And by the way, real quick aside, the person who cast the vote that was the final vote that got Rachel booted was Chris. See, I took notice of these.
All right. Yeah, this is for all our prop bets. So anyone who didn't get in on the prop bet game, it's going to be a rough season listening to our podcast because we do get excited about it. Make a list yourself if you want, and we can't score it because obviously the season started, but it is fun to play along. We will hopefully get those graded by Sunday. I don't know. I'm away this weekend, coming back Sunday night.
We'll definitely have the boot list. The prop bet's tougher.
The prop bet is very difficult to score, but it is fun. So we maybe not Sunday, but maybe by the next recap, we'll get that score.
Not a bad goal. But yeah, back to the vote split. I couldn't believe they were doing it. And really, they're so lucky that David wasn't Cochran. Because if David was Cochran and they were pulling this on him, he would have won over to the other 3, Cece, Rachel, and who was the other one? Ken, and said, yo, they're splitting the vote 4-3-3.
Wait, but did David ever find out that they were splitting the vote? I don't think he did. I think that was Jess, Sunday, Brett.
But I think that if you got somebody like Cochran, David's a fan of the show, but David's not Cochran of the show. I think you get somebody like Cochran who might say, oh my God, we're on the block, but I think they might split the votes. They got 6 strong. They might try to split it because they're scared he has an idol. Cochran, I think, would put that together. I don't think David did. And like that could have been a huge turning point if the 4 of them voted them out. It would have been boring, I think, because I do like the other 6 more, but whatever.
Well, I think it would have been interesting to me. The vote would have been way more dramatic.
Oh, it would have been great, yeah.
It'd be a pretty big first vote. I think at that point, though, David was just so desperate. Like, he didn't want to push his chances because if he goes over and starts talking to Cece and Rachel and Chris and Brett will be like, well, dude, what are you doing, man? We just tried saving you. I mean, then he almost might guarantee himself going home. They might not split it at all and say, hey, if you have an idol, play it. I don't know. I think David at that point, he was not, budging from whatever their plan was going to be.
And another thing with David is Dave, like you said, David was like so paranoid going into this. Like, there was no way. I think he was just happy to know. Like, they definitely told him, like, David, you're not going home. And like I think he was just happy to know, like, oh my God, I made it. I made it through one episode. Like, whatever, I'll just deal with it. Like, I'll be fine. Like, they definitely told him he wasn't going home. And good for him. I like David. I think David could be fun on this season. David's not going to win. I hope he doesn't go the path of Cochran in South Pacific because it's like one of my least favorite characters ever. But I do want to see.
You're a coward.
Yeah. I mean, Jim Rice is the man. Yeah, he should be back on the show. It's disappointing. But anyway, David, he could be fun. I mean, he could be really fun. So, do you have anything else you want to talk about, or you want to just get in the comments and we'll just roll through this?
Comments. Comments will bring up stuff we missed. So, I don't know if we'll be able to read every single one of them, but let's do our best. Let's do speed mode, unless we get something really interesting we want to discuss.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just roll through them. Yeah, we can just roll through them. We don't have to talk that much. Giovanni Oriana, what do you think of the new intro? I posted that today because EW had put it out. Adam Klein was the first person in the intro. You guys can look into it. What does that mean?
He can't win. The first person?
I know.
Unless, did that get broken recently? I thought it may have.
Wasn't Boston Rob the first? Wasn't he the first person?
I'm not up to date on my Survivor curses. And it's also the last person, too. I don't think the first or last person has ever won. We'll have to look into that. Someone tweet at us. Get us the info.
I mean, come on. This is Gamer Girl. Gamer Girl, if you don't have the answer to this, like, this is what you do. This is what you were born to do. This is your moment. Steel Punch, Millennial Camp feels like the Caramoan fans. I see that. I mean, they've broken off into a group of 4, and there's a group of 6. And, yeah, I could see that 100%. Steel Punch, overall solid premiere. MVP Chris for making a solid group of 6. LVP David for obvious reasons. Let's talk MVP, LVP. I'm throwing Chris out there. Or I'm throwing Zeke out there. Zeke started the fire. Zeke built the shelter. Zeke grew into himself. Zeke's in the majority alliance. Zeke didn't have to go to tribal council this time, which I know isn't all on him. Love Zeke. I got to say Zeke's my MVP vote. I mean, he has to be.
Who's on my fantasy team? Can you give me a refresher?
You have Mari, Adam, Brett, CC, Michaela, Taylor, and Will.
Yo, give me Mari. I think we said Zeke is like the vocal leader, and he's like the inspirational, but Mari's the one pulling like the strings. She's the one that's making relationships. I think Zeke is more of like, this is the short term versus the long term, as Jeff would say. This is the short term. Zeke started the fire. Who's thinking long term? Who's playing ahead? It's Mari. And I think she's in a better spot. She's more under the radar. Zeke is more, top of mind.
I would say that Mari could win it, but Zeke starting the fire without the Flint, that's huge, man. That's huge. And
we see that every season now. Everyone knows
they're both in the same alliance, though. And he started the fire without the Flint, and he got that shelter built. I got to give it to Zeke, but everybody else can vote. You can vote for whoever you want. You can say Chris. You can say Mari. You can say Sunday if you want to. I don't really care.
There's only 5 slots on the YouTube poll. I'm going to put in a poll on the actual video. So,
well, you got to do Zeke. You got to do Mari. For the Phantom Tribe, I would say. I mean, they have Michelle, Paul, Sunday, Ken, and Lucy. We did a good job with that Phantom Tribe.
I think we did a really good job.
I would say the only one could be Paul? I mean, I don't even know. They don't really have
Sunday? I don't know.
Throw somebody up there from the Phantom. Just throw Paul in there for the Phantom Tribe. Maybe Sunday. I don't really know. I think for you, Mari's a good one. Can we do 2 then, since there's 5 on the voting thing? I mean, people.
Well, I don't want to split my votes. I want if everyone's on
just put those 3 up. Yeah. But you know what? If you comment in the video that it's somebody else, we'll probably read that too. I don't think we're just going to go completely based on the. We're not going to go just completely based on whatever your little poll is. I mean, people find.
Well, I'll toss Chris up there.
Yeah, Chris for sure. I mean, and I don't know if you wanted to throw anybody else up there, but I mean, you could make it. You could probably the only other one on your tribe that you could really make a case for is nobody. You really don't have one. I'm like looking at it. I was going to give you the benefit of the doubt, but you don't have anyone.
I got Mari. That's all I need.
I mean, you want to throw Adam Klein up there because he called out the Gen Xers right away, and he was right. He made the prediction, the bold prediction. Here's what I want to do, and I wanted to bring this up real quick because you just said it. Short term versus long term. What would you have done? Chickens or snorkeling gear? What would you have done? And I know what I would have done, and I know why, but I want to hear what you say.
I would have done whatever the tribe wants to do. I'm not gonna.
What does your gut tell you though? Okay, don't worry about that. Just what does your guts like? If they said, "Will, it's up to you," which one would you have taken? Completely up to you. You get to take one. What would you take day one?
I'd probably go with the chickens, just because fishing gear is always a reward, and maybe that it won't be because of this, but fishing gear is almost always a reward. Camp gear you never really want because there's a tribe swap. They're going to dissolve into 3 at this point. I think immediately everyone's first instinct is fishing gear, but I don't know. You're out there. You want to be like eating the first few days. There are eggs. I love Taylor's response. I was thinking that the whole time. Jeff was like so stoked that they took 2 different things, that there was chicken and then there was fishing gear. He loved it. He was like, oh my gosh, let's talk about this. And it's like instant gratification with the chickens. But Taylor's like, well, no, Jeff, they lay eggs. And he just goes, you're right.
and the thing is, the tribe swap is 100% why I would take the chickens. Because
exactly.
They're going to have eggs, and you're also going to be able to cook one if you want to. There's always the rooster in there. You cook the rooster right away. There could be a tribe swap on day 2. You don't know. So why have the fishing gear, and then all of a sudden you get swapped to another tribe and you don't have it? You're more likely to get at least an egg than you are to get anything else. You don't know if somebody's going to go and catch a fish. You don't know if you have a fisherman on your tribe. I go chickens all day. You could probably be eating chicken on day 3.
I also like animals and the camaraderie. Which if they're laying eggs, then I don't mind like not killing a chicken, just keeping it alive like Mark. Like I'm good. I'm okay with that. Like I love meat, and I'm probably when I'm hungry, I'll change my mind, but I would love having like an animal around just hang out with.
And you got to bring this up. Prop bet game. Figgy mentioned Ty. I didn't think we were going to get somebody mentioned from a previous season, and we got it. Figgy mentioned Ty. So if you had Figgy in the prop bet for mention a player from another season, you got points against all odds.
There you go.
All right, so let's
on the prop bet stuff.
I really looked tonight. I really wanted to make everybody like me. It's night 1. You gotta make everybody.
Rachel. You're trying to pull a Rachel.
I am. I'm trying so hard. I'm going home. Steel Punch, no confessionals from Lucy. Yeah, we covered that. Giovanni Oriana, MVP Zeke, LVP David. I think David's gonna end up being LVP, which he's on my tribe, but I really don't have a way to push it away.
Oh, he's easily LVP.
Yeah, he's LVP. Let me see here. Harold Rice, I'm back. Did you miss me? I did miss you, Harold Rice. We didn't hear from you all off season. Harold Rice, how does Rachel compare to the Rachel from Blood versus Water? She's not dating Tyson, so she's losing in my book.
Yo, I love that. She's so cute. That Rachel. They got married. They're a great couple. I know. I'm a big fan of Tyson and Rachel.
Yeah, they were great. It's a shame she had to go so early because Tyson was a threat. Harold Rice, how does Rachel compare to other first boots, such as Darnell, Vetus, Sonia, Brooke, Si Kiao, Peter, David, Wendy, Johnny, and Tina? That's all you wanted to list? You couldn't get everybody else in the 144 characters? I would say Rachel falls into the category of it wasn't circumstance. She did this to herself. This wasn't like Darnell where he ended up on the wrong tribe. This was Rachel's fault.
Right. I think there are always 2 camps with first boots. Either you shoot yourself in the foot or you got unlucky, and it's kind of varying spectrum of how much of you. This was like 100% your fault, Rachel.
Yeah, this was trying way too hard. And Curtis, how did the cameramen survive on the island with that cyclone? Great question. There were some moving camera shots. What are the cameramen still doing out there? Like, were they just chilling in the poncho?
I think that was probably when Jeff walked up. It was pretty bad. I mean, Jeff was even saying how sand was pelting in. Didn't have a video of it. That was after. It was the tree was tipped over.
Dude, there was definitely something of like trees falling.
We
definitely got a shot of the tree falling on the camp.
I mean, I thought they were turned and there was a tree falling. I don't know if we got the actual footage. I'm sure that happened at night. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they have really high camera equipment. You wear a raincoat and you're all fed and you're warm and you go out there for 30 minutes, get some footage,
you get struck by
come
lightning,
back.
You're good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. Boating out there at night would be really dangerous, though. So.
Oh yeah. And Curtis, if Jessica doesn't last till day 36, who do you think gets the legacy advantage? That's a fun day. Like after watching episode 1 prediction, who gets it? Will.
I missed that.
That's fine. Wow, that took us a while. It's a good premiere. If Jessica doesn't last till day 36, who do you think gets the legacy advantage? I think that's a fun after episode 1 prediction. Just make the prediction, bold prediction. It doesn't matter if you're right. I'm going to say Chris.
Gosh.
Give me a name. Michaela. Cool. Good. Moving on. And Curtis. Triforce equals Cool Kids Alliance 2.0. Jay's the only one I like out of the 4 now. Taylor's a letdown so far. I like them all. I just think that they're they're not meant for the game. I don't like them as players. I like them as personalities.
Yeah, they'll be fun. I think Jay actually can turn it on. I think Jay might become like the guy who splits away from the cool kids to save the nerds and then becomes the hero. That could be the storyline.
Wow, dude, you're really getting into this. That's dark. Or that's cool. Giovanni Oriana, are Jay and Taylor going to be the poor man's Rendell and Eddie?
They could be the rich man.
They might be the rich man. Yeah. I was never that big of a fan of Eddie. I'm going to be honest.
I love Eddie. I love both. I had fun with those guys.
Eddie I did hilarious. Like them, but I wasn't like
crazy. Eddie's dog bar, like Eddie was always up to something.
Eddie early on wasn't doing it for me. He grew on me as he went, but like, you know, I mean, Taylor and Jay made me laugh every time they spoke this episode. It was just so ridiculous.
Wow, you got a little man crush there, huh, Phil?
I do. Hey, you know what, man? They were talking about the pretty people all hanging out. They got their love goggles on. Mine are on.
There you go. Love goggles.
Giovanni Oriana, do you think Chris or Brett get medevaced? I hope not. We said we both think it's Paul. I mean, I'm thinking Paul. Giovanni again. Oh my God. The rest of these are just Giovanni for the most part. Who guessed that Rachel will get 20th in their boot list? I did, by the way. I had her low.
Wow.
Yeah. Good. Congrats. Always.
I thought that was you saying that.
No, that was him.
Congrats to Giovanni. But I was gonna say, Phil, you're on like a roll tonight with these fantasy games.
I know. I did have Rachel at 16 though, so I only got 4 points on the boot list, and you got 10. So that makes me feel good. I already got a big lead on you there.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Hey, here I am. Was this a more balanced premiere than other premieres in terms of confessionals? I mean, we got a little bit from everybody. What I thought was weird is it seemed like when one character started talking, they talked for like a block of time, and then they would jump to somebody else. So we got a lot from Marty at the beginning, then we got a lot from Zeke for a period, and we got a lot from David at a period. It wasn't like hopping around like other seasons have done. Other seasons would be like
I like getting like a good chunk of someone. Like Hannah, we got for a good chunk at once. I think that is the better way to do it.
Yeah, we got a big chunk from people like Adam. Yeah, we got a big chunk from pretty much everybody except Lucy. And like even Will Wall, who only really spoke, I think he only had 2 confessionals. We got a pretty good amount from him in those 2 confessionals. So next, did David get a similar edit to Cochran did in the first episode of South Pacific? I covered that, yes. Giovanni, again, how do you think your favorite survivor of all time, Adam, is doing so far? I think we covered that. I think Adam's doing fine. I think Adam's doing well for himself.
Yeah.
Let's see, Giovanni again. Why do you think that Jessica, Lucy, and Sunday voted for Cece? Wasn't Lucy and Jessica with the Chris Brett alliance? I think they split it between Cece and Rachel because they were scared David had an idol, and Rachel and Cece both weren't in their alliance.
Yeah, exactly.
Giovanni, is Zeke getting the winners at it? He's definitely getting a deep contenders at it.
This is the Giovanni show. It's like
this is. I'm telling you, it's about to end. But what do you think? Winners at it for Zeke, or just like a contender at it?
No, it's like he started the fire. What are you gonna do? Not show that?
Yeah, that's true. Was Lucy in this episode? She barely talked. Is she going to get the purple at it? I mean, who knows? It's too early to say. She might go 3rd or 4th though, and only be not very apparent in this season. Larry Miller. I love all these questions about is this the new person? Is Hannah the new Aubrey? I mean, Hannah impressed me tonight. That's for sure. She surprised me.
Yeah, she had a better first episode than Aubrey. That's for
sure.
Damn sure.
For sure. And Curtis, could Jessica be medevaced for her eye? And who do you think is having the heart attack in the preview? Jessica's not going anywhere for the eye, I don't think. That's not life-threatening in any way. We both think Paul.
Yeah.
Giovanni, do you think Will is doing good for being as young as he is? Like I said, come back to me in a couple days.
Is Will doing well?
Go home, Will. I think come back to me in a couple episodes and I'll tell you, because I think that you're going to start to see him level out a little bit. Larry Miller, do you think Chris will be like Andrew Savage and see David as the skinny Ryan?
I don't know. I don't think Chris is very Savage. I think Chris is better than Savage.
Yeah, and I also think that I don't think that Chris would get rid of somebody just because they're weak. I think that Chris actually finds David somewhat endearing.
Exactly.
Larry Miller, would it make sense for Jessica, Lucy, Cece, and David to team up and try to get Ken on their side, #Misfit Alliance? I mean, it doesn't make sense for Jessica or Lucy, I don't think, right now, because I think they're in the majority, and they have 3 people that can go before them. So worry about it later, or when swaps are going to happen, so worry about it then. Giovanni Oriana, how many hashtags were there? I only remember Adams. Was there any more than Adams? I'm not sure.
I think there was like, which tribe are you? It wasn't. That wouldn't be
Which
for
wasn't
a
anybody's
game.
quote. Did anybody get the episode title?
What was the episode title? I don't even know.
It's a great question.
I think it was
like
Millennials versus Gen. A lot of times.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It had a name. Hang on, let me look.
Well, we'll figure. We'll score the boot list. Later.
I know. I just want to make sure we don't miss anything. Anyway, Larry Miller, did you know that Rachel was going to be on San Juan del Sur? Maybe she should have been on that season. Wow. How about that? So
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. But real quick, Rachel was supposed to be on San Juan del Sur. She's the first boot. So was supposed to be on San Juan del Sur. She was the first bird of her season.
Wait, Rachel and So are related?
No, but they were both supposed to – wait. So was definitely supposed to be on San Juan del Sur, though. So maybe
San Juan del
Rachel
Sur is blood versus water.
Well, that's what he said. I know So was supposed to be on San Juan del Sur. Maybe Rachel was like a backup or something. I have no idea. They can't be related. I don't know.
I'm confused now.
Moving on. Don't worry, we're almost done. Last one from Giovanni. Will, we need an update. Have you seen The Room? I don't think Will took the date night advantage or thing. I don't think he did it. Brooke, head of House Ho, went into thinking I'd be like, I like the Millennial Tribe so much more than Gen X, but finished the episode liking both equally. Will, which side are you on right now?
There's divisions in each that I like. I like the majority in both tribes. I like the Chris, Brett, Jessica, Sunday kind of. I don't know who else they got. David's kind of in there now. I like that, and then I like the Mari, Adam, Hannah majority on the Millennial side.
I think the Gen X has a couple more characters than the Millennials, but I do think that there's like a top notch on both tribes. I just think like the bottom part of Millennials is more fun than the bottom part of Gen X.
Right. The cool kids are fun, even though they're not in the majority. They are fun to watch.
Jimmy O'Connor, going to be honest, not impressed with the first episode, but I believe this season has potential. I liked the episode. It wasn't the best.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't yeah, exactly. It wasn't anything too dramatic, but I think
really good cast to start.
We have a good cast, and that's what matters.
Exactly. All right, on to YouTube, which for some reason these comments disappear now, so we'll have to read all of these tonight, and then they won't show up on the video. So if you want comments for the next week, comment. Anyway, Anthony Beam, do you think David will have a coming into his own story, or is he gone soon?
I think he came to his own just in one episode. I think they'll continue that storyline until he gets booted, unfortunately. He already said this game has already really influenced him, and it's been a great experience. So I think he survived one vote. It's like Phil said, like that's a huge threshold for him.
Yeah, and I think that he's going to be a big character the entire time he's in it. I don't think he's going to be in it for that long, though. Gus Schultz, video is lit. Thanks, man. HiveMind44, who surprised you in the first episode and has risen in your power rankings going into the next week? I don't want to get too much into Michelle was already my number 6 in my preseason power rankings.
Oh, well, those weren't real power rankings. Those were, those weren't official.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Honestly, Hannah. I had Hannah. I was getting low on Hannah. I know I had her on my fantasy team, but I was getting low on Hannah because I thought she was going to be in trouble.
Yeah,
she kind of does have the Aubrey vibe.
She did very well.
Yeah. Isaac Samayo, what do you think of Triforce? It's a terrible name, but it's funny.
I like the name. I just think it's a dumb idea to have 3 people that are going to be that tight on a 10-person tribe. On a 10-person tribe. Yeah, have Triforce when you're, at Final 6 or Final 5.
Like the name just says how stupid it really is. Isaac Samayo, really liking Mari. Yeah, I really liked Mari tonight too.
MVP. That's your MVP vote right there. I'm going to count that as an MVP vote.
You can if you want. Yeah, Anthony Beam, when your MVP gets red, make sure you actually comment it because it's going to disappear from here.
Oh, right. Gosh, because we switched over to doing,
it's so dumb.
Yeah.
Anthony Beam, still feeling good about my winner pick. Adam, I picked him not because he's a frequent commenter, because he seems like a winner, I guess. He seems like he could win.
Yeah,
he does feel like a winner. Isaac Samayo thought CC would be tight with Brett and Chris, but I guess not. Seems like Jessica Lewis kind of jumped into that role that I thought CC was going to get.
Yeah, she was right there. Jessica's in a really good spot.
Razatron, that's a new one.
Woo.
The preview said something about one of the castaways having a heart attack. Any guesses on who you think it'll be? We both said Paul. The only other one it could be is Chris, but I don't think it's Chris. Maybe Brett. Isaac Samayo, did you like the challenge? I did like the challenge, and I like that they gave him those options. I would have definitely just taken both advantages because I don't think 20 pieces is that much harder, but it depends on how good you are at a puzzle.
Well, you
Definitely not trying to.
You have to assume the other team is going to do at least one of them. So maximum, you're going to have 10 more pieces. Like Mario was saying, that's a significant advantage. I really don't think it's that significant. Even though she's a gamer, she doesn't know more about the gaming, than I do. But 10 pieces, not that big of a difference. I would definitely take both advantages. It seems like the premier challenges always have these like decisions and choices, and then we never hear from them again. Like this started with Worlds Apart, where you have to pick what puzzle, like the pieces, but difficulty. And they don't really make a reappearance in the challenge. I don't know why, because they are interesting. They're fun. They kind of mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. Anthony Beam, MVP Mari, LVP David. Thank God that one's going to disappear. So Anthony, you got to re-comment that after the video's over. Otherwise, we'll get no phone. Angel Bean, Rob was first in the Redemption Island intro. Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a
Who
feeling.
about last? So it's now if you're last, I don't think it.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to figure that one out. I'm not sure who was last this time. Isaac Samayo, yes, they had video of the tree falling on the shelter. Give another point to Phil. Phil just absolutely killed it tonight. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but Phil is on fire tonight, and I'm saying this from an outsider's perspective. He's just unreal tonight. He really is. How you doing over there, Will?
From an outsider's perspective, very, very nice. Clearly not on that much fire if you're misusing that term.
No, I'm not misusing it. It's called sarcasm and split personality disorder. Anthony Beam, I think episode title was May the Best Generation Win. And if so, Will Wall said it. It was May the Best Generation Win. And fun fact, Will Wall said it. So there you go.
That's awesome.
I had Will Wall getting the most confessionals this episode. He started off hot, didn't end up doing it, so I fail on that one. That's like the only thing I lost.
Who did I have for most confessionals?
In the premiere, hang on, I gotta find it. Prop bet, there it is. Will, you had most confessionals in premiere. Figgy, you weren't too far off. At least we had relevant people, right? It's not like we had Lucy.
Yeah, man, David was such a good pick for that. I don't know, it makes so much sense.
Hey, you put David for Find an Idol. He almost found one, or at least he's trying.
I knew he'd look. He's paranoid.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so that covers all the comments. Real quick, we just hit 900 subscribers officially. I'm looking at the YouTube thing right now.
Oh, yeah.
It says 900. We just hit 900. We had 896 going into the episode, so picking up people. Let's hit 1,000 by the end of the season.
By the end of the season, let's
by the end of next week.
Now that we're at 900, 1,000 needs to be a very real goal. So if you're listening, if you're a new listener, you don't know whether you want to subscribe, just do it so we can get 1,000. Once we get 1,000, it just looks cooler because you get the 1K. Just we just want a K. That's all we want.
That's all I want.
Yeah, and throw the video a like if you want. That's good too.
Tell your friends.
Yeah, if you have friends that watch Survivor, we talk about this all the time.
Because Will doesn't.
I don't. Phil's the only one I know who watches Survivor. I have one person at work that watches Survivor, but they wait until all the episodes are over and then they binge them because they can't go week to week. I'm like, well, if you need help week to week, you can listen to us and we'll keep you, what to look out for, stuff like this, power rankings, predictions. He's not going to do it. So
we're your one-stop shop, man.
Yeah, there you go. Phil, do you have anything else? There's probably something we're forgetting.
Just remember to vote for MVP. Please remember to vote for MVP. We're going to do our best to have those games set up for Sunday. Can you do Sunday? I know you said you're going away this weekend. Are you going to be back Sunday, or are we doing Monday?
I mean, I'm coming back Sunday night. I'm going to be exhausted, but hey, you know me.
You'll probably bail. Yeah, I do know you.
No. If I'm back at a reasonable hour and it's not like midnight, then
you know what, man? I can't do Sunday night. I actually can't. It's me. Put it on me. I actually can't. I can do Sunday day. I can't do Sunday night. So it looks like it's going to be Monday. Is that cool? Monday's cool, right?
Yeah, Monday works. What are you doing Sunday night?
I joined that team, and it's on Sunday nights. So we'll have to do
my God.
We'll have to do the predictions.
That's for the whole season.
That's for the whole season. We're going to have to do the predictions either early Sunday or Monday or Saturday. We could do Saturday at some point.
Yeah,
Saturday can work.
Oh
man, I hate myself.
Sunday's football all day in the day.
I know. Oh my God, this is the worst news ever. Wow. I'm having like a breakdown on air. It's happening.
Oh man. Well, We'll figure it out. But this is all on Phil. Don't let him.
This is
give
all
me
on
any,
me. I meant.
Don't
hey,
say I'm
Will
the
sucked
one.
last season. I suck this season.
I did not suck last season.
You were pretty awful.
Okay. This one's
all
over.
right, anyway, vote for MVP. Vote for MVP. Vote for MVP.
Don't vote for MVP. Vote for Amari for MVP.
Oh yeah.